The San Antonio City Council tightens its reins on e-scooters. The Bexar County District Attorney moves forward with new murder charges against Angel of Death, Genene Jones. And San Antonians tackle trash along city waterways. This is your Express Briefing podcast for Friday, February 15th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. And get each day's top news and sports headlines delivered to your inbox at expressnews.com/newsletters. Thursday, the San Antonio City Council responded to complaints about perceived chaos caused by e-scooters by voting 10-1 to somewhat tighten its initial light touch on regulating the dogless vehicles, with every council member weighing in on the innovation's frustrations. Nationwide, the vehicles have spawned personal injury lawsuits, and some small towns have banned them entirely. But currently, roughly 6,500 scooters and bikes are available in San Antonio, and they've yet to be banned from sidewalks. District 5 Councilwoman Shirley Gonzalez was the lone dissenter, calling the new rules a step backwards, and asked rhetorically why the evils of automobiles weren't drawing similar scrutiny, noting that the city's plans for superbuses, trackless tramways, or driverless vehicles will all require first-mile and last-mile solutions. That mean the local government will have to find a way to safely accommodate micro-mobility. Thursday's vote adopted most of the January recommendations generated by the Council's Transportation Committee to make, quote, midpoint amendments to a 6-month pilot program on scooters and e-bikes that ends in May. While council members note they may create additional rules at the end of the test period, new changes include that dockless vehicles can only operate from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., scooters left in prohibited areas like Alamo Plaza or along the Riverwalk may be removed without warning. The city will put a moratorium on granting new scooter permits and also will designate more parking zones. Area scooters generally unlock for $1 via a smartphone app and cost 15 cents to ride per minute, and no helmet is required by law. They can't be operated on streets with speed limits exceeding 35 miles per hour, and riders in violation of that ordinance can be charged with a Class C misdemeanor and a fine of up to $500. While San Antonio hasn't had a reported death involving scooters, this month Austin recorded its first fatality after a 21-year-old exchange student from Ireland was struck by a car near downtown at about 1 a.m. Citing concerns about legal liability and safety, some smaller Texas cities like New Braunfels and Kirby have imposed bans. Even as debate continues on whether she is competent to stand trial, Thursday the possibility of a plea bargain was raised for the first time regarding 5 new murder charges filed against Angel of Death, Genene Jones. Convicted in 1984 of killing a Kerrville toddler with an overdose of muscle relaxers, the former pediatric nurse has been in Bexar County Jail since being arraigned more than a year ago in the deaths of 5 San Antonio children in the 1980s. Thursday, a judge accepted a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation that found the now 68-year-old competent to stand trial, but went further by ordering a second evaluation after her attorney challenged the report's findings. Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez says his team is prepared to take Jones to trial in the new cases. But in his words, everything is on the table, including a plea bargain, as long as the families of the deceased children agree. Jones was 35 when she was convicted in 1984 of murder in the 1982 death of Chelsea McClellan, a 15-month-old who was injected with an overdose of medication used to cause short-term paralysis as part of general anesthesia. And while Jones has only been convicted of that single death, officials have said she may have been responsible for the deaths of more than 40 or even more than 60 children. The former pediatric nurse was working in San Antonio and Kerrville at the time of Chelsea's death and during the deaths of other children named in the new indictments. Despite being sentenced to 99 years in prison, without new charges. A law designed to ease prison crowding that went into effect while she was incarcerated would have allowed Jones to be released in March of last year. And Saturday, a couple thousand San Antonians will fan out across the city in an annual effort to collect tons of trash from creek beds and tributaries that flow into the San Antonio River. The event, known as Basura Bash, is celebrating its 25th year, and over the past quarter century, more than 36,000 Basura Bash volunteers have collectively removed more than 1.1 million pounds of trash from the area's waterways and collected 90,000 pounds of recyclable materials. And that's your daily San Antonio Express briefing for Friday, February 15th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts.